And one of the things he talks about in his book is if your business involves making people happy, then you can't be good at it if you don't care what people think, right? And he further talks about how the day you stop reading your criticism is the day you grow complacent and irrelevance won't be far behind. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bridging the Divide podcast. I am your host, Rolando Bonilla. Today is going to be a fun one. I just finished reading the book, Unreasonable Hospitality, by a gentleman by the name of Will Guidara. He is the former owner of 11 Madison Park, one of the best restaurants in the world. Actually, at one point even won the award for best restaurant in the world in New York City. And as a side note, that restaurant was also the beginning inspiration of a fast food restaurant that a lot of us enjoyed named Shake Shack. But the book to me just really was wow. For those of us that are starting a business, it really talks about what they call the remarkable power of giving people more than they expect. And the book, what it did to me was it literally walked me through the thought processes that were employed to make 11 Madison Park one of the best restaurants in the world. When we talk about attention to detail, it's very often a very cliche thing. We talk about it, but a lot of people don't actually do it, don't actually take the steps to make it something that really, sticks out because it just takes a lot of work, right? And so to me, this book really brought to life just how important it is to focus on that detail work to make your, in this case, restaurant, an unforgettable experience that truly changes how customers view you in the long run. Look, I don't want to ruin the book for you because I think it's worth not just the read, but really taking notes as you are reading. But let me give you a couple of things that really stood out to me. For example, we don't really think about what it is that we need to give employees, for example, when we want them to be the best version of themselves. And so, for example, one of the things that he talks about is making sure people who are trying and working hard within your company have what they need to succeed. How many times have we seen people say, oh, I hired, so-and-so and so-and-so, and it just didn't work out? But really, that responsibility is on the hiring authority to determine what it is that individual needs to succeed. In sports, we talk about it in terms of, playing out of position. So, for example, if you're a pitcher, you don't want to play catcher. It's just not what you do, right? You throw the ball. That's your thing. So doing anything other than putting you in a position to throw the ball is putting you in a position where you are going to have a hard time succeeding because that's something that you need to be successful. And when you're successful, the organization as a whole is successful. The other thing he talked about in the book is the importance of, for them at the restaurant, as they were working to be number one, the importance for them of a daily 30-minute meeting because he saw that as the opportunity for the employees to actually come together as individuals and become a team. When I read that, it really reminded me of when I played sports, right? Like you have to go to practice, you have to huddle, you have to talk to each other, you have to communicate, you have to go through adversity together in order to gel and become one. Now, again, very often when we're running our businesses, we're overwhelmed by all the details, all of the, the problems that come at you 1,000 miles a minute, that you forget to actually bring folks together and make them a team. I joke within my own company is that we can't just be folks who check tasks off of a list because although it's true we're getting the job done, What we're not doing is getting the ultimate job done of being a team, because when you work as a team and you're thoughtful about accomplishing those tasks, your actual overall performance is better. Right now, think about that. Whether you're in a restaurant, as was the case with the author of this book, whether you are, running a shop, whatever it may be, if you want your operation to work as in as much togetherness as possible, it is incumbent on leadership to bring people together on a consistent basis, to have those conversations, to form those bonds, and to traverse the challenges that you navigate in business with as much of that alignment that you can possibly get. Really, again, kind of sounds common sense, but but very simply the type of thing that most of us forget when we're in the fight, trying to make numbers, trying to sell, trying to ensure that we're able to keep employees working, particularly in these tough times. And so for me, this book was, such a good read, full of practical experiences that I just felt I had to share it with you because, as I've said from the very beginning, the knowledge is out there, right? The information is out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be the person who is trying to figure out how to do it from scratch, because whatever it is that you're doing, even the things that people talk about are as innovative in first time, someone's done or someone's tried doing, and there's a record of it somewhere to help you better understand how to really tackle the problem that's in front of you. Um, and so the reality of it is that to me was a very nice reminder of what it takes to be successful. The other one that a lot of us don't do often is we're forming small businesses is really feedback, customer feedback. Now, customer feedback can be something as simple as uh, taking a survey, or it could be as simple as paying attention to what people are buying or not buying. And one of the things he talks about in his book is if your business involves making people happy, then you can't be good at it if you don't care what people think. Right. And he further talks about how the day you stop reading your criticism is the day you grow complacent and irrelevance won't be far behind. I thought that was powerful, right? Because, even for me, those that know me know I'm not one of those guys who sits around concerned about what people think about me. But I do care about what people think about me in the professional sense, in terms of whether or not I'm meeting the commitments that I'm making, and in fact going above and beyond on those commitments. And so I'm constantly seeking feedback. I'm constantly seeking feedback from, my teammates. I'm constantly seeking feedback from partners. I'm constantly seeking feedback. Anytime I give a speech, if anyone has the misfortune of being with me after I give a speech, the first question I always ask is, "How did I do?" And sometimes I have teammates who make fun of me because if it's recorded, I will watch that speech and analyze what I did well, what I did right. In fact, I did it last week. I had to give a speech up in Sacramento, and I noticed that at one point I was so excited that I almost lost my breath a little bit. And so I analyzed what it was that I did wrong to get me to that point. Although the public didn't know I was dealing with this, I knew I was dealing with this. And what I quickly assessed was that I was so excited to be there that I didn't regulate myself. Little details, feedback, whether it's feedback that you find on your own, or whether it's feedback that you try to get from the market, are tremendously helpful in making you better. Remember, you're selling to people. You're working with people. And if you're not talking to the people that you're selling to or working with, uh, then at the end of the day, you are going to have a really, really hard time being successful. Magic Johnson told a great story once. I was at an event, and he told a story about how when he first started in business, one of the things that he did was that he open these shops. I think they were called like Magic 32 or something like that. And they were inside of malls. Um, and he said that one of the things that he did was he would sell the things that he liked. So he would sell leather jackets, he would sell expensive shoes, he would sell the things that a legendary NBA player making NBA money, enjoyed purchasing. And so when his business didn't do so well, one of the things that he learned was that the problem was that he was buying for himself, not buying for the people that he was selling to. Now think about that, right? I mean, how many of us have made that mistake of assuming that what we like is what the world likes? And in reality, very quickly, if we're paying attention, we'll get a sense for what it is that the market actually wants from us. Even for me, I remember when I started in business 16 years ago this year, I had an idea of what the company was going to be, only to very quickly be told by the marketplace what they wanted from me. And then at that point, I had to make an adjustment. And the adjustment was very simple. Do I continue selling what I think the world wants when the world's very clearly telling me it doesn't? Or do I make an adjustment and give the world what it wants from me? And ultimately, I made the adjustment, and it was the best business decision I could have made, right? Because ultimately, um, ultimately, that is what allowed for my businesses to grow. So to me, this book really did a great job of walking me through not just his journey in trying to make the restaurant, again, 11 Madison Park, the best restaurant in the world, but all of the detail work, all of the conversations, all of the headaches and constant negotiation with partners to really bring that vision to reality. And I'll tell you, whatever business you are in, this book will talk to you, because it's really the very natural ups and downs and tensions and fights that all of us in business go through each and every day. And again, as I've always said, we're the Bridging the Divide podcast, right? And I've said we're the ones that started at -0. And just to be clear, this podcast is for everyone, but I'm coming in from the perspective of how do I give a network and a structure and a map for success for those of us that come from environments where those things just don't exist. So I do want to say that. But this book does that, right? This book really, if you take the time to read it as I did, not only did I enjoy it, but I found myself taking notes and asking questions of myself, and having a lot of aha moments that to me were very, very, very helpful in terms of how I'm going to move and operate with the businesses that I do run and have right now. Um, Another one that, that I thought was really helpful that I'm actually applying in my own life right now is he talks about how often the perfect moment to give someone more responsibility is before they're ready. And that really stuck with me because, again, back to sports, which I played, you're either ready or you're not. And you hear folks like Tom Brady say that, you have to prepare, you have to get ready, because when you have that one moment, you better take it. And when that one moment comes, very often in life, we're not ready for it, but we do have a choice to make. Are we prepared to step into that moment with as much confidence as we can muster? Or are we going to just capitulate to that moment and lose that opportunity that could very well be the only opportunity you get? And so the way I've always run my life is be ready for that moment, as ready as you can be. And when it presents itself, just jump in. And know that when you start something, for everyone, whether it's business, sports, medicine, whatever you start, no one starts knowing what they're doing. And so this line stuck with me too, because he was also talking about it in terms of hiring. Very often for those of us that own businesses, we like to believe that no one can do it better than us. And by doing that, what we do is we create a bit of a bottleneck in that everything requires us to prove it, to touch it, to see it. And the problem with that is that you're slowing down the company, but you're also killing the confidence of your teammates because you're basically telling them, I don't trust you. I don't trust you, which has detrimental effects to the company you're trying to build. Again, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a personal service business, whether it's a store, you want to be able to build a team of people who are willing to take the moment, step into the moment, even if they're not ready, but having the confidence to make themselves ready. And that's something funny enough that we're going through right now in our companies. We're making those adjustments in order to really build teams that have the desire, the fire to step into those moments, and acknowledge that as scary as they may be, by virtue of not capitulating to those moments, they're going to become better and be better when they ultimately get to the other side. So, look, I don't want to ruin the book for you. But I do think it's something that all of you who are in business, thinking about business, or better yet, just wanting to become better, whether you are just graduating from college or a higher degree like a law degree, business degree, master's, or whatever. This book to me is something that you should definitely um, take into account, and actually take the time to really read and embrace, because it does do a very good job, in my opinion, does a very good job of giving you a pathway, and a way of thinking that can be very helpful to your overall long-term goals in business. So again, the book is Unreasonable Hospitality: The Remarkable Power of Giving People More Than They Expect, by Will Woodruff, one of the former co-owners of 11 Madison Park, one of the best restaurants in the world. And also the fun fact, as I said earlier, the birthplace of a small little hamburger restaurant that we all enjoy called Shake Shack. All right, my friends, as always, thank you for listening. Until next time.